Why hello there, fellow tailors and smiths. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to RimWorld, the Boundless Witch. Episode 5. Learning to make a protective gas mask. Before I insert the Mechlink, I want to be closer to home because a lot of the basic mechs don't move very fast. So being closer to home means the mechs that get added in my faction won't have to run so far. It seems silly, but like they do legitimately have to travel pretty far. Like, and they're pretty slow. So here we go. I'm caravanning everything back. Including even the metal frags. I probably need more shelves because I'm very quickly finding myself without shelf space. But let's install. And as a result, Witch has installed a Mechlink. She is now a mechanitor and can create and control mechanoids. Research basic mech tech to get started. Creating mechs. Your mechanitor can create mechs by producing a building called the Mech Gestator. About bandwidth. Mechanitors can control as many mechs as their total bandwidth allows. Select Witch and look at her bandwidth, which is 6 down here, in order to figure out her bandwidth, and then we can put them in groups. And then they can also call threats. They can, with a comms console, they can signal like mech boxes to fight. And what mechs do I get? Let's stand right here. Oh, you went through the ceiling. So I got a Constructoid. Cool, that'll work. Fix what you broke, dude. So this Constructoid, I am going to assign to Group 2. And Group 2 will be a dormant recharge. I don't really have any construction projects that call for a Constructoid at the moment. But what it will allow me to do is to have like yet another pet that I can directly draft and control. Whereas like Silent Rider, I can't like individually issue orders. They have their own sentience. Whereas these mechs are directly controlled by Witch, and I'll be able to direct the mech to attack and tank for me potentially, allowing me to use weapons like revolvers in combat, which is delicious. Let's have a bit of a giveaway for the mech that we just added. And then while we're doing this giveaway, I can have you guys decide on what the next big thing is for us to work towards. So in terms of projects, there's a few ideas that I had. I could expand farming. What to work on next? Expand farming for fertile soil and irrigation. Build a proper bedroom / hospital, because I don't typically need a bedroom, but I might need a bedroom if anyone ever joins. Strive towards gun turrets and self-defense or other viewer suggestions. Poll is up there. You can vote. I'll give you 2.5 minutes to vote on that. For now, I'm just going to continue researching machining. I think it's the most logical next thing to work towards. But batteries wouldn't be bad either. Same with solar. But the advantage of machining is it gives me a gas mask, which significantly improves my pollution resistance, which I think ultimately is something that I want first, because I can't go about... There's really nothing stopping me from going around the map tile other than the pollution itself, because all the animals here are pretty tame and aren't going to try to do me any harm, other than potentially taming the fox squirrel. It's really just the pollution malice, which is the real threat. So you can decide on what I work next. Oh, and I'm putting on the slice cap pour. Yeah, I guess so. This is what I would normally look like. Pretty weird, but sure. And that offers some protection to head and ears, which isn't bad. Although my portrait up here looks all sorts of dirt. Big old dirt. Another thing I could invest in is the smelter. A smelter is going to allow me to like break down slag and weapons I don't want. I'm not going to invest the steel in the smelter just yet, but it's not an unreasonable thing to potentially invest in the future. Because I suspect there's going to be a lot of like metal and stuff to be able to recoup from destroying you know, mechs and pod drop raiders and stuff like that. Hey, Breakfire, thank you for the resub. I'm getting a few more shelves. It's a bit nasty. Helps to tidy up a wee bit. And a lot of our mood malices are fading, which is great. Going swimming? Yeah, don't do that. Let's do inside. So the tox-free zone I'm going to update. Not including there. Cheers. Last drops of my coffee. Alright, the floor is mostly picked up. Sweet. Uninstalled things that can be stored on the ground, I can store out here. So I'm going to put this as normal and have buildings not here, and then this as low and put buildings here. And let's update the zone to behind the walls. And just move the stuff we don't need, like, outside. It'll make the inside even nicer, potentially. I think the cleanliness is taking a hit from the smithy? Maybe? Or is it from the mech corpse? Might actually be from the mech corpse. I'm gonna move the mech corpse here. If I can't dismantle it with machining, I mean, oh well. Alright, so it looks like we are going to research gun turrets and increase security. Can the construct bot mine? No, the construct bot can't mine. What it can do, technically, is cut down trees if you sort of cheese it by, like, instructing it to build floors underneath trees, and they will cut down a tree in the process. Ultimately, it has a finite amount of mech energy, and I don't have a way to recharge it just yet. So I'm going to keep it dormant and not have it do anything. It's a means of self-defense, at least for now. Alright. We just had the raffle timer go off. Scorpio, thank you for all the gifted subs. And Vermeer, congratulations, you are now a little Constructoid. Apologies for the tardiness. Oh, no problem at all. No problem at all. We're getting heel root. We're getting heel root. And then a 42-year-old wants our help. Yep, that's not happening. Nice try. Never gonna happen. We also have visitors coming in. Grant. Oh, he looks happy. You must be sanguine, aren't you? Yeah, you're sanguine. Never seen such a ear-to-ear smile. And Dragon. It's too bad I can't get Dragon to stay. 6-year-old. Not really sure I want a cannibal staying with me. It'd be a little tricky to, like, go to sleep and expect to, you know, wake up in the morning, but still, I wish. Timer's broken again? I mean, you know, it's one of those, like... I can't fix it. I wish. Wish it wasn't a constant nuisance. And Mach 1 Fireman, thank you for the resub too. Reminds me of those like truck rally. It like your name just dislodged an ancient memory when I was a really little kid going to one of those like truck rally is the wrong term, but one of those like like a monster truck type thing. But one of the features was a like a converted fire truck with like jet engines that could, I mean, I don't think it was going Mach 1 because, you know, Mach 1 is nearly a land speed record, but it was definitely going pretty fast. And that was one of the main attractions of the event, which I found pretty cool as a child. Bye-bye! I didn't even trade with you, did I? So rude that I didn't even greet my guests. As a fellow old man, you remember those as well? Yeah, they were pretty cool. I think I've also saw one as a school bus. Like, I think the attraction was like, we take a... we repurpose some sort of utility vehicle and turn it into like a jet engine rocket. Which is like... ultimately super redneck in like a very... I don't know. Hilarious, like a super high level of engineering way. It's like, wow, it's a lot of effort for essentially little more than a gimmick, but still, I enjoyed it. And I'm sure my 4-year-old would too. So if we are to push towards gun turrets and self-defense, I updated the priority above my head. And we are going to push towards this research. To do machining, to gunsmithing, to blowback, to gun turrets. As a means of self-defense. I think while we do that, because this is about self-defense, continually training Silent Rider in for rescue for combat is also going to be pretty useful. I'm not really sure like what the use case is for Silent Rider to rescue me. If I'm unconscious, it's like kind of game over anyway. But if I have another member in our community, it wouldn't hurt. What's the longest I've marathon for? I don't really know. Like, maybe 19 hours? Oh. Humongous Harez. Har. Just landed on us. I don't care. I don't even want his clothing. They wouldn't fit me. He's humongous. Would Ascension's Catalyst make Silent Rider able to open doors? No. So I mentioned this before, but the weirdness here is Silent Rider is basically what I would consider a bugged animal. It was coded poorly. Because in the game, in RimWorld, you can either have advanced trainability or require a ranch. You can't do both without conflicts. So the issue is essentially trainability is advanced, but it also needs a ranch, or it has a blocked by fences, yes, roam interval. Basically, animals that can roam away from your colony cannot reasonably haul, because if you allow them to haul, they just wander off and leave, right? So the mod maker here screwed up at designing this animal. And there's no... I'm not gonna patch it. But yeah, that's the long and short of it, is in RimWorld, you either require a ranch or you can haul, and there's no animal that does both because of the conflict of requiring a ranch and like, there's no use in hauling, essentially, for Silent Rider at all. Because it could move around things within a walled zone, which is not ultimately very useful. Or risk wandering away. I mean, we could unzone it, open the doors and have it haul things from far away, but it's going to wander off away from the community every 2 days, and like that's not worth the risk as far as I'm concerned. So the basic mech tech is here, and that's going to allow us to get lifters, militors. Now the downside to this, of course, is the amount of pollution it produces, but we already have one Pollux tree, which will handle a certain amount of pollution. So as long as we're not constantly losing militors, it's potentially a decent solution. I will say, as far as combat goes, absolutely bar none, the most efficient way to kill things in RimWorld is a souped up ghoul. And I haven't seen a ghoul yet, but if we really want to defend ourselves, turrets and ghouls is like 1,000,000% better than really any other combination in the game. Ghouls are insanely powerful. And witch is a witch, and she has nothing against the undead. I mean, they did nibble her, but, you know, they're a useful tool. So, yeah, if possible, it would be smart for us to have some sort of holding cell for a ghoul and to figure out how to ghoulify things. Because all these stupid adults that come to kill us, hey, if we can turn them into a self-defense mechanism, that would be amazing. Because we've had some pretty strong adults show up to try to murder us. Like the Edekin who is nimble. That would be a pretty powerful ghoul, if you ask me. Oh, okay. So, Breakfire, you corrected me. The Sentience Catalyst, for pen animals, they lose their fence-blocked status. Cool. So, I suppose if we get a Sentience Catalyst for Silent Rider can become a proper hauler. That's good to know. But even still, you shouldn't... I would still stand by my previous statement. You should not design an animal that can't be useful unless you implant one of those. Seems a little silly to me. Another thing, as part of the priority, we haven't had a lot of opportunity to add, like, humans to the colony. But if we wanted to, we don't have the infrastructure. I don't really have a reliable source of food yet. And I certainly don't have a source of, I don't have a toilet, I don't have water. So, on the next poll of what to work on, I do think security is more important. Keeping Witch alive is more important than, like, potentially adding a new person. But, adding infrastructure for human habitation will be on the poll. With that said, the chance of there being a child to join us is low, but not zero. Now, there is a big risk if a refugee wants refugee status with us. It is a little risky to ask them, because if they betray me and they betray me at like point blank, Witch doesn't have a great way to defend herself from like a person that's trying to immediately kill her. And it's not reasonable to have like the Constructoid follow her around 100% of the time. Now I could zone the refugees away from her, so if they choose to betray, they're not next to me, and that's not unreasonable. But either way, it's going to require us to have human habitation infrastructure, because essentially she doesn't require food or sleep or comfort, but anyone else that ever joins will need water, food, sleep, and comfort. And then it becomes a matter of like, where do we put that? One not so unreasonable place to put it is somewhere in the mountain, because we'll be pod drop raid protected. It's a good panic room and a fallback point. So I am considering doing investments like that potentially. Would a new person have their own little petrified treehouse? Yeah, that's another, you know, I could go either way, is I guess what I'm trying to say. Whether we go from treehouse to treehouse with walls in between them, or go into the mountain. You know, because there could be a treehouse here, there could be a treehouse here. Those are two obvious places to expand into. There could be a much bigger house here if we wanted it. I could leave it up to you once it becomes a thing. Wouldn't battery tech be needed for turrets to keep them on? Yes, it would. I mean, the wind turbine is doing amazing amounts of wind power right now, but yes, in the long run, we will need battery tech. Definitely. The reason I'm getting machining first is a gas mask is going to make a huge difference for toxic protection. And then once we have the gas mask, we can then pivot to battery and then pivot back towards gunsmithing, blowback, and gun turrets. I think that's a very reasonable approach to the tech tree. Because even periodically going out to tame and train Silent Rider is like a bit of a drain on our health. And then there is the potential of taming the fox squirrel up here too. So the fox squirrel's diet is roughly the same as the other critters, and we can start to try to feed them too. Yeah, there was good water in the mountain. So as far as water goes, because I know this is part of the mod, there's a tiny bit of water here that we could pump. There's a tiny bit of water here that we could pump. That's going to be enough for like your daily drinking needs, but you're not going to really be able to irrigate with it with that little water. So that's enough to like keep a human alive, but that's about it. If we really want to irrigate crops, we're going to need to tap something like this or like that, which requires drilling into the mountain, which is fine. I don't mind that. It just, you know, because Witch works day and night without end, you know, nothing really stops her. She doesn't sleep. So having to dig a giant hole in a mountain is not an issue for her. And she's also getting talented at doing it. She's already level 7. She started at like 4 or 5 or something like that. So that's entirely a plausible solution. It's just we need to make the effort, and I would like to put it to poll if that is indeed the case. So once we get the machining table, I plan on building the machining table, getting ourselves a gas mask, and then shredding the scorcher, and then going back towards probably battery tech. So the question here is, do I get batteries next as research? Yes or no? Little poll up there. If no, that's fine. The other way to mitigate the potential power loss is we could also just get like a different power source, like a wood fire generator that we flick on in the case of a raid to generate the power that we need, and then we can flick it off. But batteries is a pretty logical solution. And if we want batteries, I'm going to have to run the cables in. Putting batteries here makes sense, like in this nook, but obviously we're going to need more, a lot more steel for it. So for seeking more steel for it, I would say, is this the closest? Yeah, I think that's the closest. I know there's compactor machinery here. Let's actually do a quick survey. So we've got compacted plasteel right there. And it looks to be a decent sized node because there's 2 pieces of it. So I think it's probably like an L shape or something. We've got some machinery, but I wouldn't say it's an overabundance of machinery. Meaning that I need to consider the amount of components that I incorporate into my anything if I do want to get fabrication sometime down the line. And then we have compacted plasteel, but we actually don't have a ton of compacted plasteel. It's pretty limited to just like a node over here, a node over there, and that might be it. Like, I'm not sure there's more than just the 2 nodes. So steel is a fairly limited resource. I'm sure there's a lot of it in the mountain though. Well, not sure, but I would predict that to be true. And then the last thing is, do we have jade? No. Do we have gold? No. Do we have silver? Yes, because I've seen silver. Do we have uranium? No. So, not a lot of raw resources in this nap tile. Got it. And it looks like you guys do want batteries next. 10-4. There's nothing stopping me from caravanning, especially with Silent Rider, over to adjacent map tiles to plunder adjacent map tiles of the resources. And when I have more pollution resistance, that's really not much of an issue because I don't need to eat. So it's actually very easy to tile over to adjacent tiles. Silent Rider just gets tethered to a caravan hitching spot and Witch just mines until we're full. it's very easy to do with at least one pet. So that shouldn't be much of a problem at all. And it now can rescue. Sweet. I'm not going to bother doing hauling unless I get a catalyst. And int is already 10. So we nearly have machining. And then the gas mask itself has a chem cost. So if we do want chem fuel, I will need to get biofuel refining as a pivot. I guess I should ask that too. Do I also get biofuel refining for a gas mask? I know it's deviating from the gun turret plan a little harder. But I think it's worth it. Also, if we intend to ever get a mechanoid signal grav engine, we're going to need chem fuel one way or another. Mad Omu. We're still behind the walls zoning, so I don't really need to do anything about this. Let it be mad, it's fine. I don't want to hurt it. Uh-oh. Sorry, dude. I'll patch you when you're unconscious. I did not realize you were just going to plow through my fence. I'll remember that for next time. The fences keep them from wandering in, but they don't keep them from busting in. Got it. I mean, the fence helped. It kept it from dying, I guess, because otherwise it would have just been murdered by the traps fully. And speaking of which, let's put this one back now that I've closed the door. And it looks like you guys do want me to get biofuel. Now, the only issue with biofuel is the biofuel refinery structure cannot be moved. So wherever I install it is kind of a permanent installation, which is unfortunate-ish. So I'm going to need to pick a place to install it where it has some relative permanence. So machining is now done. I am going to start researching biofuel refining because I can't actually get the steel for machining at the moment because this Omu would murder me otherwise. So the question I have is, should I put the biofuel refinery in the mountain? So what I'm asking essentially, just to clarify, is to mine a small path into the mountain where we put the biofuel refinery kind of at the mouth of the mountain. The reason for that is if we do, it would be protected. So it'd be like a biofuel refinery like there in a mountain. The reason for it is it would be protected from raiders, and it would be close to my power grid. And if I do intend to live more in the mountains rather than the trunk forests, you know, if I, let's say I have a spacecraft, some sort of Rav ship in the future, the biofuel refinery is also very near the crops and very near open area that I could land a grav ship. That's the thinking, at least. And maybe not literally right in this spot. I would want it towards water. Probably. So more like there. Let's... One second. Yeah. So, put the biofuel refinery, something like there. Mine out a little cubby hole for it. Run power down to it. But you guys think, oh boy. Well, this is going to be a bit of an issue. It's not my problem, though. So, I'm going to update the current priority. Get a gas mask. And then we'll go back to, like, the turrets. You better stop being, all crazy. I really don't want you to die. But, perhaps they have chem fuel? They might. They have fluffalope, beef, pemmican, no chem fuel. Even if they had chem fuel, I don't know if I have anything worth selling that I would want to willingly part with. Yo, watch out! Whoa, you? What are you, like, how, oh my god, you are an amazing, how did you go, like, 10 rounds with that bug and not get murdered? It's insane. Rip. Yeah, I kind of saw that coming. Alright, well, want not, waste not. Here we go. One of the things I could do in this situation, which wouldn't necessarily be a bad idea, is to pemmican this thing. To butcher it. I actually probably want to butcher it with like a proper butchery spot so I get higher yield. So to butcher it and then turn what it butchered for into pemmican so that I have travel food for the other Omu and potentially food for any future joiner. So that is a project I will briefly pivot towards. We need another tree. I also need to open the valid path in case I get raided. Don't have a butcher table already? No, I used a butchery spot last time. Royal Ascent. There is a... Nope. I wouldn't mind, like, a Royal Rescue attempt, but not a Royal Ascent. Alright, that's a hell of a lot of meat. Production. Because I'm not interested in constantly having to refuel anything, I'm going to do an electric bench cooking. Which, of course, uses more components. I'm aware. And then... I don't actually have pemmican, so I need to research that, too. Oh, my god. Okay, noted. Well, do you guys want insect meat? Because I don't know how much of the insect meat I'm going to be able to process beforehand. So they got a donkey and a ram. They have leather. I mean, yeah, they have leather. I'll sell the joint and yayo. I don't need that. That really might reasonably be the only trade I'm willing to do. So I'm going to sell the insect meat instead, so it doesn't, I don't waste it. That way I'm also not incentivized to immediately push towards pemmican research. So I'm not going to even bother with the pemmican research. It's no longer a urgency. Uninstalled buildings don't really need roofing, but it feels weird not to roof it. Ooh, more cotton. The other thing I could try is, while they're here, I could try my hand at making nicer clothing and to give them my hand-me-downs. To make myself another mask, make myself another lab coat, because I have a lot more fabric to work with. And then get rid of my poor stuff. The sheep wool stuff is also probably should be sold before it rots entirely, so make myself a shirt. as well. So let's see. Button-down shirt. Check. Please stick around long enough for me to trade with you. And then we'll try another lab coat after that. And another face mask. Maybe. Another source of, no, never mind. That's not gonna, that's just gonna have slag in it. Crafting 5. Yeah, it's probably gonna be trash. Oh, it's not! So I don't know when they're gonna leave, so every time I make something new, I'm gonna sell the old thing. Because they might not stick around long enough. But we're slowly building up our silver, which is great. I'll haul the silver afterwards. Excellent mask. Ooh, so much better. I got lucky on that one. As a level 5, that's incredibly lucky. Come on, stick around long enough for the lab coat, please. They're gonna leave, aren't they? The mask sells for just like barely a... yeah, they're leaving. Alright, well, next time. So the spare mask could always be used as like potential rescue or joiners. Even if I get a gas mask, they're not useless. They do protect you fairly well. It's another poor lab coat. Oh well, I tried. So the foggy rain has been forced for 9 days, and I think in total 18. Oh, wow, that was long. I mean, I don't mind. It's great for the soil fertility, but that's way longer than I expected it to be. Good to know. Read the fine print. I mean, I would have made the same choice, but still. So we only have a few more days of of temperate weather before it gets too cold to plant, so I'm going to stop sowing for now. We're about to lose the season. Some grass for kibbles. They're not going to grow in time. I'm going to spend some of my pollution tolerance to... It won't take much to mine a path towards the steel rather than go all the way around. It's not a lot of around, but I'd rather just... Yeah, we've already hit the other side of it. I figured that would be the case. So now it's going to allow me to get a little bit of steel for the biofuel refinery, for the machining bench, for all that jazz. I don't really mind being wet. It's fine. So we'll remove roof. So yeah, this steel site's really not that far from the base, which is nice. Is there gold? Oh, that's silver. It's not gold. So there is no known gold anywhere on the map tile. But I can caravan for some. Ooh, another Pollux tree. Oh, and this one is close. I think what I'll do is I'm going to create a home zone around the Pollux trees so I'm warned about fires before fires become an issue. The other thing I could hypothetically do is the Pollux tree zone... I could, like, wall up around it to keep it from being harmed. You don't want to build, like, or floor it. Because floors are actually fine. it's the walls that are a problem. So I could like floor a fire break around it if I really wanted to. The ruins aren't going to stop the Pollux tree's efficiency because they don't count, fortunately. But at least for now, at the bare minimum, I'll create like a little home zone around them. And in this case, delete the limestone wall so I don't actually add it. And then over here, as you can see, there's like a whole different... there's a whole different amount of flora that are growing around here. We've got these toxania as a result of having clean soil. So it's kind of thriving. The forest is a little thriving over there, which is nice to see. Adults. Gross. Get lost. In terms of terrain affordance, yeah, we could do flooring. The other thing is, it looks like the soil. Well, no, it's not fertile soil. I'll take it back. Yeah, there's stony and trash soil. It's not super helpful. But having another pollution removal zone nearby is great. So I have enough for the machining bench now. Let's get it. I'll mine this and then haul and then build the machining bench. And let's just shred the scorcher. I don't think there's any other mech corpses though. Yeah, just the scorcher. And now I should probably just continue biofuel refining research. But I'll get a little bit extra steel for like spare traps for security. And then on top of that, this whole zone can be polluted. So if we want to remove more... We didn't vote for me to expand the farm, but if we wanted to create a larger area of safe zoning for homes, like we could do that with... and transplant pollution here or transplant pollution there, because these are now zones that can handle the added pollution. Thank you for tuning in to RimWorld: The Boundless Witch, which originally streamed live on Twitch as a miniseries marathon. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow witches and warlocks.